Since its inception in December 1863, football has evolved from the unpopular cousin of rugby to the most popular sport in the world. Everybody knows that footballers have gone through the long road from soldiers and amateur athletes to the wealthy professionals we know today. However, the evolution of football managers is perhaps even more interesting. In the early years before the English Football League was established, clubs didn't have managers. With the foundation of the English FA Cup in 1871 and the English Football League in 1888, the clubs became semi-pro or professional, paid their players and even made transfers. Notts County, formed in 1862, is regarded as the world's oldest fully professional football club, but even they didn't have a manager until 1883, when Edwin Browne took the role of secretary manager. The job of secretary manager was to act as an intermediary between the club's director and the players. However, until the 20th century, secretary managers were not professionals. In most cases, they had little education and had no playing experience. Secretary managers were often manual labourers, factory workers, blacksmiths, or carpenters. Having said that, we did see some brilliant managers in the late 19th and early 20th century. Willie Maley, the first manager of Celtic, and Bill Struth, the manager of their arch-rivals Rangers, both set numerous football records, many of which still stand. Willie Maley was famous for a lack of interaction with his players, especially in his early days. He didn't even hold pre-match meetings. His players had to read local newspapers to find out if they were in the starting 11 or not. Bela Gutmann was the first Globetrotter manager. His career spanned from 1933 to 1973, and he managed 23 different clubs across 12 countries. As well as his Globetrotter status, Gutmann also managed one of the first football megastars, Eusebio. The Hungarian manager was one of the few who experienced the transition from the days of amateur football to the beginning of the Golden Age, when the wages of football managers skyrocketed. Eusebio was one of the first superstar footballers, but if we talk about superstar managers, there is only one man who can take that title home: Helenio Herrera. The Argentine-born manager led Atletico Madrid, Barcelona and Inter Milan to domestic and European glory in the 1950s and 60s. He was the first to use strict disciplinary codes and psychological motivation in football, which made his teams mentally sharper and physically stronger than their opponents. His ability to command the media made him the first football manager who was ever present in the newspapers, and he was a true star off the pitch as well. Herrera appeared in TV shows and commercials with a hefty paycheck. In the 80s, it became usual for former footballers to become managers after retirement. Arrigo Sacchi, a former shoe salesman, proved that it's possible to be an excellent manager even without previous football experience. He became famous for his cheeky answer to the pundits who questioned his ability to coach Italian giants AC Milan. "I never realised that in order to become a jockey, you have to have been a horse first." Sacchi won 8 trophies with Milan and led Italy to the final of World Cup 1994. Sacchi paved the road for many managers who didn't have a football career prior to their management days. The 90s gave us arguably the greatest football manager of all time, Sir Alex Ferguson. In his 26-year service at Manchester United, the Scot amassed 49 trophies during his illustrious career. He became the first and arguably the only super manager. After 2010, he became the only manager of a top club who had a bigger wage than any of his players. In today's football, we don't have a similarly successful manager, although wages are going through the roof. Pep Guardiola is earning more than £15 million per season at Manchester City, and veteran Marcello Lippi topped even that, with £18 million per season as boss of the Chinese national team. Jose Mourinho is trying to make a similar legacy to Sir Alex Ferguson. The Portuguese has won 2 Champions League trophies, 8 domestic league titles and many other cup trophies, a total of 25. His arch-rival, Pep Guardiola, also won 2 Champions League trophies, 6 domestic leagues and numerous cups. Will their rivalry give us a worthy successor to Sir Alex Ferguson in England? Or will the only record they break in the upcoming years be the highest paid football manager of all time? What do you think is the future of football managers?